Good evening. Welcome to the program. I'm Leland Vittert. Tomorrow, the Supreme Court will decide the fate of the Biden administration's vaccine mandates for large private businesses. We're going to get into the arguments on that. Plus, the no booze revolution. It is the trend sweeping the country. It's not just a dry January thing. It's a dry everyday thing. From tequila to vodka, you can now get your favorite drinks sans the alcohol. But why would you? A man making millions from the concept will explain. But first, in America tonight, new evidence. We are collectively, there we are, right now, we are collectively moving on from COVID, whether the CDC recommends it or not. 45% of Americans said in December they are returning to their pre-pandemic lives. That's up from 36% in September. It comes as cases are at a record high, but you wouldn't know it based on packed football stadiums. NFL games and college games are sold out. People are paying top dollar for the right to see their team, often indoors, with tens of thousands of maskless strangers. Consider this. On Monday, the Alabama Crimson Tide will beat, you heard it here first, the Georgia Bulldogs in Monday's college football championship game before a sold-out crowd at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. The current positivity rate for COVID cases in Indiana is 35%. In short, COVID is running wild in Indianapolis, and a quick check shows the cheapest tickets are $336 a seat. People are flying to Indianapolis and paying hundreds of dollars to see the game, as they did over the holidays, in the millions. Almost 20 million flew between December 23rd and January 2nd, a 47% increase over last year. This comes at a time when there are more cases, we said, than ever, and the CDC, among others, are ringing the alarm bell. And they might be right. But let's say the American people have good reason to be confused and perhaps even indifferent at times to CDC guidance. Let's look back at the past 2 years and how they have unfolded. February of 2020, you don't need a mask, said the CDC. March 2020, social distance. March 2020, quarantine for 14 days if you're positive. April 2020, wear a mask. That reversal took 2 months. December 2020, quarantine 7 to 10 days, down from 14. March 2020, vaxxed, don't need a mask. May 2021, vaccines for all. May 2021, vaccinated people don't need to distance. July 2021, get a vaccine, but you still need to wear a mask. September 2021, the FDA rejected boosters for all. September 2021, the CDC approved boosters for all. November 2021, the CDC definition of fully vaxxed may change. December 2021, the vaxxed only need to quarantine for 5 days. January 2022, just a couple of days ago, no plans to change the definition of fully vaxxed. At this point, it would be hard not to be confused. And the experts are often, quite often, disagreeing with each other. The American Medical Association now writes of the latest CDC guidance. Physicians are concerned that these recommendations put our patients at risk and could further overwhelm our healthcare system. That's the American Medical Association. And in the Journal of the American Medical Association, some health advisors to President Biden's transition team are calling on the administration to change its COVID strategy. In 3 opinion articles published on Thursday in the Journal of the American Medical Association, they are calling for Mr. Biden to adopt an entirely new pandemic strategy, one that is geared to the new normal of living with the virus indefinitely, not, as the president promised, wiping it out. And it appears the president is taking their advice. Remember, about a year ago, President Biden promised, in his words, to shut down the virus. Here's his message over the holidays.
I'm not going to shut down the economy. I'm not going to shut down the country, but I'm going to shut down the virus.
There is no federal solution. This gets solved at a state level.
There you go. But the federal guidance is still crystal clear in one area, cruises. The CDC says under no condition should you go on a cruise. Surely some are following that advice, but thousands upon thousands every day are saying words we cannot say on TV and heading for some fun in the sun. Brian Entin spent the day with them at the Port of Miami, joins us now. Brian, from the folks you talked to, how much of it is they want to go on a cruise? How much of it is a giant middle finger to the CDC?
I would say a little bit of both. Most of the people just want to get out of their house, go back to some sense of normalcy, and get on a cruise ship. Most of them knew about the CDC guidance saying do not get on a cruise ship and told me they basically just don't care at this point. Every single person that I talked to said they were vaccinated and boosted and that they felt safe. Listen to what some of these cruisers told me. The CDC is advising people not to cruise right now.
We did see that.
What do you think about that?
I think we're just going to go for it.
You got to get back to living. Got to get back to it. Can't sit around stuck in the house forever.
Any nerves with everything going on?
No, I don't care. I'm good.
What do you mean?
Well, listen, I'm not going to live in fear for the rest of my life. I'm vaccinated. I've tested negative. Everybody on the ship has to test negative, so I'll wear my mask. I'll do what I got to do, stay away from people, and just enjoy my time alone.
Have you seen that the CDC is advising people not to cruise?
I've seen that, but oh well, too bad.
So basically, Leland, they're over it, but they are taking precautions. Again, every person I spoke to was vaccinated. Many of them had masks on or masks with them, and they were just ready to go on vacation.
Yeah, that woman definitely looked like she needed a vacation. Is any of this political? These aren't Trump cruises. These aren't MAGA cruises. Are people that you're interviewing talking politics as it relates to their view of cruising?
I do not get the sense it's political at all. I mean, there were 4 ships that left from Port Miami today just a couple of hours ago. So you had all sorts of people from all over the country, and we talked to a lot of them on and off camera. Not one person even brought politics up. They all just said they were sick of being at home. They felt like they took all the precautions they needed to take, and they just needed a break and some sense of feeling like things are normal again.
Yeah, there's so many people who are just craving that sense of normalcy. And if you're used to being on cruise ships, it must feel normal. It's interesting. You said the people you interviewed, you've got to be vaccinated to get on most of these cruise ships if you're over the age, I think, of 12. You have to test negative. This came from the travel industry, but we have no reason to doubt it. Royal Caribbean, since restarting in the United States, its ships have carried 1.1 million guests. 1,700 people have tested positive. That's a positivity rate of 0.02%, compared with Georgia at 38.7%, Indiana, as we just said, at 35%. Anybody talking about that they actually feel safer on a cruise ship than they would among the general population?
You know, there were a few people that said that, and they had done their research. They knew what the rules were. They knew what the case counts were in the past. Some said that they felt safer, and a lot also said, because they love cruises, you have a lot of avid cruisers, that they felt like the cruise industry was being unfairly targeted in all of this by the CDC. They were asking, why aren't hotels and theme parks and other places under this kind of criticism? Why aren't they telling them they can't go there? So they were almost defensive of the cruises.
Oh, man, I would love to hear some cruise defenders. Brian, great reporting, great story. This is fascinating. Thank you.
Thanks, Leland.
Good to see you. Tomorrow may be one of the most important days of the entire pandemic. The Supreme Court's going to weigh 2 of President Biden's most controversial policies, vaccine mandates. Here's Vox writing, the stakes in the Supreme Court's vaccine cases are even bigger than they seem. The court doesn't just threaten the public health, it threatens democracy itself. Okay, that's Vox's opinion. In case you forgot, the president's workplace mandate impacts businesses with 100 or more employees. That covers roughly 80 million people. They must either prove they received the shots or undergo weekly testing paid for by their employer. The other mandate applies to healthcare workers who treat patients at facilities operated by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, which is about 17 million people who work in there. Workers who receive any money from Medicare or Medicaid. So it's virtually every hospital in America. For that mandate, there is no testing option. Ian Samuel, clerk for the late Justice Antonin Scalia, among many other judges, teaches constitutional law and joins us now. I'm unclear how democracy itself may be threatened here. The Supreme Court didn't really have a choice but to take this up, right?
Well, no, they didn't. I mean, in the sense that you always have the option when you are a regulated business or anybody else, and an agency, some executive agency or administrative agency is telling you that you have to do something, you always have the option, and it's a very good option, to go to a court and say, what I'm being commanded to do is beyond the agency's authority to command. And, you know, we can have differences of opinion on how exactly we figure out what agency authority is, but the reality is that this kind of major action, it was destined to end up in the Supreme Court. I'm sure the administration knew that, and I think it's, you know, it's probably right and just that it should. I think, you know, I may not have the same opinion on the bottom line, but it's appropriate that the Supreme Court should decide this, sure.
What are we to make of the makeup of the court right now, this sort of super conservative majority as it relates to this case?
Well, I think that it would be a mistake, and, you know, people do this all the time, and it's because it's an easy take to say, oh, well, it's the Biden administration that's doing this, and so there are 6 justices appointed by Republican presidents, and therefore they're just going to vote their policy preferences. You know, look, I don't think that that's the right way to think about it. There's no doubt that justices appointed by Republican presidents and Democratic presidents think about the scope of executive authority differently in this area, but they have real reasons for it. And there has been a long-running debate in conservative legal circles about how much deference the courts should give administrative agencies like HHS or OSHA on questions like this. Yeah. And I don't think it would be fair, even though, you know, as I said, I don't think I probably have the same opinion on the bottom line as you do. I don't think it would be fair to say that if the court ends up concluding.
I don't know why you think you know what my opinion is, but I'd be fascinated to hear yours in terms of what the court's going to decide.
Yes. Oh, I only say that because nobody ever agrees with me, and I assume you're a reasonable person like everybody else. So there are 2 rules here, as you mentioned, right? One of them I think is easier to defend than the other. The HHS rule about hospitals says, look, if you're going to be receiving money to treat our elderly Medicare patients, you need to get vaccinated because, you know, regardless of how much the vaccines are effective and regardless of, you know, exactly what they do to protect people, this is a vulnerable population. And we really don't want to pay you to treat them if we can't be assured that you're not going to get them sick because elderly people are very at risk. That, I think, is defensible because the HHS is setting out conditions to protect its own Medicare patients. The OSHA rule about businesses, that is a tougher lift, right? Because, yes, of course, OSHA sets out, you know, workplace safety and health regulations of all sorts, but it just doesn't feel like the kind of question that Congress expected, you know, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration to be answering in terms of this kind of public health problem. It just does, it feels wrong, and the statutory basis isn't as good. And so if I were a betting man, which I am, but there's no market for this, I would say that the HHS rule seems in pretty good shape. The OSHA rule, I wouldn't count on it. And that seems maybe about right to me. I think I might say both rules are okay, but that's not unreasonable.
It's really interesting how the administration did the OSHA rule, right? They didn't do a domestic flight mandate. They didn't tie it to, you know, food stamps or welfare or any of these things. They did this really weird announced it in September. It doesn't come actually to fruition until January. It's done through OSHA on and on. You've got 2 things that I think are coming up in this case. One, you have the Ron Klain, the White House chief of staff tweet, where he admitted that this was an end run around the normal rules making and the normal policy thing.
Why do you tweet something like that? Why do you say that?
Why do you say that?
That's a problem.
Right, huge problem. But then also you have President-elect Biden saying this. Take a listen in 2020.
No, I don't think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't demand to be mandatory, but I would do everything in my power, just like I don't think masks have to be made mandatory nationwide.
Does the fact that the president say, I don't think they should be mandatory, and then he turns around and his Justice Department has to argue that vaccines should be mandatory, does it matter what he said to the court?
Well, as a formal legal matter, the answer is no. But as a practical matter, the answer is yes, and partly for the following reason. you're right that the way that they rolled out these rules was unusual. They invoked, emergency authority, so they didn't have to go through the usual notice and comment process. And the government really, in the Supreme Court, often gets an unusual degree of leeway because they trust the government. These are professionals. These are really, okay, we might not buy this coming from someone else, but, we trust you guys. The problem is with COVID policy, and this is not just true for the Biden administration, but it's true for the Trump administration too, because many of the officials are the same. Everyone can tell perfectly well that these people don't have any more idea what they're doing than anybody else. Now, that does not make this vaccine mandate wrong. That does not make it a good idea. But what it does make it impossible to say is, trust us, we're the experts, we've got this. Sorry about the mask thing where we said you shouldn't have one and then you should have one. And we didn't roll this out for some reason until like September, even though this was, kind of a big problem in January 2021, but also it's an emergency. The credibility of the administration is shot, and it ought to be shot, because you really shouldn't be able to sort of act like you have a handle on something that everyone can see you don't have a handle on. And so, look, if you've got the statutory authority, then you've got it. But if it's a close case, don't ask us to do you any favors because your credibility, is depleted. And that is fair enough, I think. It really is fair enough.
I'm not a lawyer, certainly, nor an expert in the law like you are, but you seem like a perfectly reasonable person so far in our conversation. I can't imagine why anyone would disagree with you, but I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure it's happened in the past. Hey, thank you for the perspective. We appreciate it.
Nice to talk to you.
You too. All right. Tomorrow will be the third straight day public schools will be closed here in Chicago. The city's 340,000 students have been shut out since the teachers walked out. The union, as we told you, voted earlier this week to switch to remote learning amid concerns over rising COVID cases. Except the school district says their demands, the union's demands, are completely out of touch with science. Now, other cities are worried about school closures popping up and the consequences. We understand Minneapolis's mayor has warned that schools must stay open to combat a violent crime and carjacking surge. Carrie Rodriguez, president of the National Parents Union Education Advocacy Group, joins us now. Carrie, I guess it doesn't perhaps surprise you at all that the teachers' unions are continuing to say we want to stay home.
No, I don't think it surprises any of us. And I think American families across the country have voted a lack of confidence in terms of these teachers' unions. We have been doing polling, our National Parents Union polling, for 20 months, asking American families how they feel and who should be the decision makers when it comes to COVID-19 mitigation strategies and school reopening. Only 4% of American families say they have confidence in these unions. And weeks like this are exactly why.
It's interesting because there's a lot of discussion, especially in Chicago as an emblematic of what's happening across the country, that this is really a wildcat strike, right? The union can vote to not show up at school, but if you don't show up for your job, you have the right to be, normally your employer fires you for that. But the mayor here and everybody else seems to be treating the union with pretty kid gloves. Why is that, you think?
Because this is a constant political back and forth. I mean, it's tradition in Chicago that we play politics with our schools. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is our children end up caught in the crossfire. Yeah. And that's really the heartbreaking situation that we're dealing with right now. Parents are trying to navigate what is chaos at the same time as we're trying to hold up the American economy, the American public health care system. We're also expected to hold up the public education system at the same time, while we have this petty political back and forth happening. These decisions are not being made in a vacuum. When we decide to close schools, whether it's for 2 hours, 2 days, or 2 weeks, that has a significant impact on poor folks, on Black and brown folks that are traditionally underserved by our American public schools. And frankly, at the same time, you're not enabling us with the ability to take care of our families. Yeah. 2 days off of work means grocery money for a lot of families in this country. Yeah,
people are having to choose. Do I stay home with my kids who are home, or do I leave them while I go to work? It's a terrible position for parents to be in. We've been saying all week that we've invited every lockdown and remote learning enthusiast we can find to come on the show. We've invited all the teachers' unions, all their representatives here in Chicago, their lawyers. Nobody will come on. We want to give them their due, though. Here is the vice president of the Chicago Teachers Union explaining their position.
We are very clear in what we are requesting. Safety to stay open. Our children were being warehoused in cafeterias, auditoriums, and gymnasiums. They were doubled up, tripled up.
It brings up an important question. Even if you take them at their word that they have these safety concerns, do the teachers' unions get to decide what's safe, or does the school district, or does the Department of Health?
Well, let's be clear. These are educators, not epidemiologists. So I don't understand, and I think a lot of American families are pretty puzzled as to why they seem to be in the driver's seat around making these decisions and saying that it's based on
let me
health
ask you
and
this.
safety.
Do you think that it's a sincerely held belief that going to school puts these teachers in grave risk, or do you think that the teachers are just lazy and they're using this as an excuse to stay home?
Well, I would say this. We are in the middle of a COVID surge. We have spent $200 billion, that's billion with a B, sent that down to districts like Chicago to deal with situations like this. They should have had masks. They should have had testing supplies. And frankly, if President Biden was able to ramp up vaccine distribution and just the creation of the vaccine, if we knew that we were going to have a problem in terms of locating tests, we should have known about that in September and ramped up our production of COVID tests. So to me, this is a catastrophic failure of leadership on all levels. It goes directly to President Biden, who literally could take action right now. I have a lot of questions about where that $200 billion went to and why the teachers unions and administrators and all of these folks who insist that they have the best interest of our children at heart didn't have a contingency plan, as if we didn't know we were going to have.
In fairness, they had a contingency plan in Chicago. The union then just said it wasn't good enough. Real quick, where do you look next for these kinds of union actions and walkouts by teachers to happen? We've got Chicago closed now. What cities are next?
Well, unfortunately, in the cities that we are seeing shut down, it's going to be really difficult to reopen. You're seeing cities like Detroit, Newark, Atlanta, Philadelphia. It's going to be a problem. When they see that this is an effective strategy, they're going to continue to do it because they know that this is one hell of a trump card that they can play. So, unfortunately, we've got to do everything we possibly can to hold the line, to make sure that our schools remain open and fight for it.
Yeah, you make a great point. It's so much harder to reopen once you've closed than to close in the beginning. Hey, really appreciate all the work you do for students and for kids. They need an advocate as well. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Up next, Ghislaine Maxwell. She could get a mistrial because of what a juror didn't say. All right, so are we finally going to learn about Jeffrey Epstein, his madam, and who really was in the Black Book? We'll talk about that next.
Bipolar 1 in adults. Full spectrum relief for all bipolar 1 symptoms. Elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. High cholesterol and weight gain, and high blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, may occur. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. Common side effects include sleepiness and stomach issues. Movement dysfunction and restlessness are also common. You are greater than your bipolar 1. Ask about Vraylar.
Get your personal points plan. I'm James Corden, and I'm here to tell people that WW is getting even more personal. Keep on shopping, ignore us. I've lost like 28 pounds.
You look great.
I love that my clothes fit better, but I just love ice cream a little bit more than that. The new WW personal points program is particular to you. So what kind of foods do you like?
Avocado.
Ice cream.
Sandwiches.
No food is off limits.
When can I start?
Join today for 50% off at WW.com. Hurry, offer ends January 10th.
Meet Ron. That man is always on. And he's on it with Jardiance for type 2 diabetes. His underhand sky serve, on fire. His grilling game, On point. And his A1C? Ron is on it with the once daily pill Jardiance. Jardiance not only lowers A1C, it goes beyond to reduce the risk of cardiovascular death for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease. And Jardiance may help you lose some weight.
Jardiance may cause serious side effects, including ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to sudden worsening of kidney function, and genital yeast or urinary tract infections. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. And don't take it if you're on dialysis. Taking Jardiance with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
A once daily pill that goes beyond lowering A1C?
On it with Jardiance.
Ask your doctor about Jardiance.
Easy tools on the Chase mobile app. Simplicity feels good. Chase, make more of what's yours.
My daughter has type 2 diabetes, and lately, I've seen this change in her.
Once-weekly Trulicity is proven to help lower A1C. It lowers blood sugar from the first dose, and you could lose up to 10 pounds. Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. It isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. It's not approved for use in children. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it. You or your family have medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, which can lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems. Ask your doctor about once-weekly Trulicity.
Ghislaine Maxwell, former girlfriend of the late Jeffrey Epstein, we say girlfriend, madam may be a better word. Well, she may get a new trial on sex trafficking charges. That's because one of the jurors admitted he wasn't totally truthful about his history of being sexually abused. Each juror received a questionnaire specifically asking them, as you can see there, if them or any family member had ever been sexually harassed, abused, or assaulted. The juror in the question claimed, well, that attorneys never asked that question, but then later said he, quote, flew through the questionnaire. Maxwell's lawyers say his past experience, which he shared with other jurors, could have influenced the outcome of the trial. They now want a new trial. Joining us now, Karen Conti, legal analyst, founder of Conti Law. All right, Karen, any reason to think that this actually is going to get a different verdict?
Overturning a jury verdict is very difficult. It's a very high burden. But when it comes to lying on a jury questionnaire or lying during voir dire, there's case precedent that says that if a juror intentionally lies, misrepresents, you can presume that there's bias. And that could taint the entire jury because under our Sixth Amendment, we have a right to fair trial, and that goes directly to the impartiality of the jury.
So this would be the question. Okay, so she gets a new trial. In a new trial, might we actually learn the answers to all the questions you and I have been talking about who exactly did what on which airplane and what famous people were at which islands and all the things that the prosecutor somehow never brought up in the first trial?
I doubt it. If there is an overturning of this jury verdict and the case is to be retried, my guess is that Ghislaine Maxwell is not going to testify, that we're not going to, it's going to be the same exact trial. They're going to try maybe a few different techniques. But you know what, Leland? I don't know that we're ever going to get this information as much as we would like to.
Yeah, that's the good part. It feels like that's why we went through this whole process in a way, conceivably to sort of look at a much larger part of Jeffrey Epstein's world. There is this other lawsuit hanging out there with Prince Andrew, right, about whether or not he can be held civilly responsible, conceivably, even if, depending on what happens, criminally responsible. Does this appeal now delay that process?
I don't know that the two are very related. The fact that Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted really is not very relevant to the civil lawsuit against Prince Andrew. The question is going to be, did he in fact abuse this girl? And Ghislaine Maxwell, although she could possibly be a witness, she would never testify in this trial. She's lost all credibility now being a sex offender who's been convicted. But I think, again, you know, it just, we keep thinking of, is she going to flip? Is she going to try to flip now and get a better deal? But as lawyers, we know that there's flipping up and flipping down. And generally, if you're going to cooperate as a witness, you cooperate to convict somebody up the food chain. And Ghislaine Maxwell is at the top of the culpability line. Actually, Epstein was, but he's dead. So for her to cooperate as to people who did things underneath her, meaning not to diminish what they did, but she was the trafficker. She was the one who orchestrated it and perpetrated it.
Right. There's flipping up and flipping down. Ghislaine Maxwell is famous because of Jeffrey Epstein, but from a big fish, little fish kind of thing, wouldn't we're supposing here, but if some of the accusations that were true, that these underage girls were trafficked not just to Epstein, but to other big-name men, whether we have pictures of them or not, why would that not be sort of, I guess you say, trading up or trading down?
Yeah, I mean, given the fact that these people, these high-profile people have been named, obviously we don't know if any of this stuff is true. But I think the other problem is statute of limitations, because some of this stuff happened 15 to 20 years ago. And so all of the statutes have run. The only reason that Ghislaine Maxwell could be charged is they charged her under the federal law of trafficking, which has a much longer statute of limitations. So even if she did flip and say some very high-profile president or prince did something untoward to young women, statute probably has run as to those counts.
Fascinating. Hey, Karen, this was a great conversation. We're always glad to have you, and there's so many more twists and turns here. It's incredible. Just when we thought it was over, it's not. So there you go. It's good to see you. Happy New Year.
To you too, Leland.
All right, all the best. Good to see you. All right, when we come back, we head to Georgia. Why is the president there to talk about election laws, and what does it have to do with January 6th? We'll see you in a minute.
The former president and his supporters have decided the only way for them to win is to suppress your vote and subvert our elections. It's wrong. It's undemocratic. And frankly, it's un-American. I will defend this nation. And I will allow no one to place a dagger at the throat of democracy.
That's President Biden today at the Capitol for a day of events to remember the January 6 riots last year. His vice president, who we'll hear from in a minute, compared the events to 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. The answer, Democrats say, to Republicans wanting, we quote the president now, to suppress your vote and subvert our elections, is sweeping federal legislation to change election laws in America. That was part of their pitch today, and President Biden heads to Georgia next week to continue that push. Joining us now, Georgia Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan, a Republican and frequent guest. Good to see you, sir. Why do you think he's coming to Georgia?
Well, I guess the whole political universe can't avoid the short-term sugar high of picking on Georgia. You know, the result of our last election was the facts and figures show we ran the fairest, most legal election in our state's history. But unfortunately, the Democrats are going to try to politicize elections now and take their turn at it.
It's kind of funny, though, right? Because Republicans won the Georgia election in 2018. Brian Kemp beat Stacey Abrams. Then all of a sudden, Democrats weren't happy with the election then in Georgia, but now Democrats are quite happy with the election results, obviously, in 2020, both the presidential races and the Senate races in Georgia. This is what the vice president said about January 6th today. Take a listen.
Dates that occupy not only a place on our calendars, but a place in our collective memory. December 7th, 1941. September 11th, 2001. And January 6th, 2021.
There's a lot of folks who just find that sort of patently offensive, and it was not a mistake. The press secretary doubled down on the comparison earlier. The question would be this. Does invoking this idea that January 6th was this threat to American democracy in a way that December 7th and September 11th were, does that push the federal legislation farther forward among moderates or create more problems?
So just listening to that soundbite of Vice President Kamala Harris is, in my ears, what politicizing elections sounds exactly like. And certainly I've heard my fair share of it on the Republican side. It started in Georgia in 2018 when Stacey Abrams tried to act like she won the election, even though the votes didn't go her way. Look, I think America is quickly moving in a direction of wanting to have adults in the room to make big decisions. At the end of the day, we've got a raging pandemic. We can't get test kits. People are sitting in traffic for 27 hours on interstates. We've got an open border. We've got foreign policy disasters, lost legislative agendas. I could go on for hours, Leland. America needs adults in the room. They don't need partisanship, politics getting injected into every square inch of our life.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Look, and I'm at my limit.
You make a very good point in terms of the problems facing America. And just from an objective standpoint, no one can really make a case that the 2020 election wasn't fair on either side. It was a very fair election and run well. You point out that on the Republican side, January 6th has become a very divisive and difficult issue. We want to play a couple of sound bites. This is Lindsey Graham, close confidant of the president, as you know, and the House Minority Leader right after the January 6th riots. Take a listen.
Trump and I, we've had a hell of a journey. I hate it being this way. Count me out. Enough is enough.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding. Accept his share of responsibility. Quell the brewing unrest. And ensure President-elect Biden is able to successfully begin his term.
I think you know where I'm going with this, because we're now going to play bites from the same men just a couple of months later.
This is the party of Donald Trump. If you think otherwise, you're in for a rude awakening.
I worked closely with the president on working on endorsements to win seats in the House, and we did quite well. What I have found is we've worked very well together.
Are Republicans like yourself stuck between the rock and a hard place? The rock being wanting to be adults and deal with the big issues, the hard place that Donald Trump still controls so much of your party?
Jeff Duncan's not stuck between a rock and a hard place. I think there's millions of Americans just like me, millions of Republicans that are ready to move on, focus on the future, put good old-fashioned leadership on display. When I listen to those competing statements from the same individuals just weeks apart from each other, it's like fingernails down a chalkboard. I think America, and especially the Republican Party, is in the waking up process of wanting to find adults that are able to say, look, I didn't get it right. The election wasn't rigged. Donald Trump is not the future. He's the past. And move forward. And if we plan to win big elections in the coming years, then we're going to have to wake up immediately, because every day we avoid the big conversation or the, you know what, I was wrong conversation, the closer the Democrats come to coming back and winning again and again and again. And we'll continue to watch this train wreck play out on TV every night on the evening news of failed policies, not only here in this country, but across the world.
So I just want to button you down on this. You think about your state of Georgia. David Perdue is now challenging Brian Kemp, the governor there. Perdue's running on this platform of rigged elections and election integrity and on and on. Does that mean you predict that Stacey Abrams is going to be the next governor of Georgia?
Certainly that's not my predictions and that's not my prayers, but it is a better possibility now that David Perdue has created a synthetic campaign against Georgia's most conservative governor in history. It's a synthetic campaign that is solely focused on fanning the flames of fake news and carrying the water of Donald Trump. If he wants to spend time with Donald Trump, he ought to go play golf with him in Mar-a-Lago, but don't screw up my great state of Georgia like he's trying to do.
Those are strong words, and we have to say it's not just David Perdue. It's some of the most vocal parts of the Republican Party, some of the most popular on social media until Marjorie Taylor Greene was kicked off. Take a listen to Matt Gaetz and the Congresswoman today.
We know this. January 6th last year wasn't an insurrection. No one has been charged with insurrection. No one has been charged with treason. But it very well may have been a Fedsurrection.
This is a big wing of the Republican Party, sir.
Yeah, this is what it sounds like when you're more worried about seeing your name in the headlines than you care about your country. And that's what we're watching play out. I hate to watch this, but it's part of the process of us figuring out who's going to lead and who's going to stir the pot. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, and the like are not, they don't care about the future of this country. Yeah. They care the future of their political careers, and it's a short-term sugar high that will wear out.
I admire you coming out and saying all this, but the big names in the Republican Party, conceivably the adults in the room, even Mitch McConnell and others, were totally MIA today. They were at the Johnny Isakson funeral, the Republican senator in Georgia. No disrespect to anyone, but it's hard to imagine it was a coincidence that he died on December 19th and they decided to have his funeral the day that everyone was going to be in Washington asking Republicans what they think of January 6th.
I was honored to be at that funeral today for an amazing man that taught me a lot about how to govern and how to make friends. Mitch McConnell and other senators were in that room honoring him. And you know the interesting thing, Leland, very few people talked about politics. They talked about Johnny Isakson, the man, the friend, the colleague. It was amazing to watch. It also was hard to see some people in that aisle, in those aisles, wanting to talk about, you know, memorializing Johnny Isakson, and then they're going to tear to Twitter in 10 minutes and talk with a divisive tone that's not going to heal and rebuild this party.
Well, we admire you coming on and always appreciate your frankness. It's good to see you, sir, as always.
Yeah, good to see you, Leland. Happy New Year.
Yeah, and to you and your family as well. Thank you. Drinking without the hangover. No, it's not a miracle cure. There's actually a market now for alcoholless booze. You're going to need a drink, so pop something open, and we're going to let you hear from our next guest in a minute. All right, tequila, vodka, bourbon, rum, beer, whatever your favorite liquor is, it's called a spirit. The official definition of a spirit when referring to alcoholic drinks is a strong distilled liquor such as brandy, whiskey, gin, or rum. By definition, it has to contain alcohol and lots of it. But a new trend is hitting the drink market, low or non-alcoholic drinks, trying to recreate the taste of tequila without it. Joining us now, Ronald Gratigliano, founder of RK Beverages, which sells zero-proof spirits. Some of his beverages are behind him. All right, so is this like Diet Coke?
No, it's not a Diet Coke. It's different. It gives you the burn and the kick and the flavor of the liquor, but without the alcohol. So people love it, and it's not addictive.
So it's not addictive. Forgive me, but I think there's going to be a lot of people who are kind of skeptical. Why would you have the burn and the kick and all of these things without perhaps having it loosen you up a little bit at the bar?
Look, 50% of the Americans are very thinking about safety. They don't want to drink. They don't want to drive if they drink. So the mix, the blend of together of the responsibility and to be a good man or a good girl is not to drink. And to avoid drinking, they are trying RK, which is a perfect alternative, which is an alcohol-free spirit flavored drink that brings the burn identical to the alcohol.
Have you had
Absolutely identical.
Have you had anybody buy it and then be upset that they thought they were buying something with alcohol and it wasn't?
No, never, because they know what they're buying. We are the number one on Amazon, number one seller on Amazon. We get fantastic reviews on Amazon Vodka. We got 2.2 million viewers for this video.
Well, what's interesting, I guess, is also you don't need a liquor license to sell this. So you can sell it on Amazon. You can sell it however you want. Alcoholic versus non-alcoholic sales in the United States, $262.8 billion of alcohol, $3.1 billion non-low alcohol drinks. I know you started this because your son was drinking a little too much, but you just take a little bit away from alcohol sales, you got a big business going.
Absolutely. But you know what? At the beginning, it's very interesting what you said. When I started, in fact, in 2007, I tried to make something which is good, which is like this product, RK Tequila, for example, and I could not find the burn. I could not find a way to make the burn, to make this really effect of the alcohol. And then in 2011, I launched RK. But what's happening is this, everybody in the industry was against me. They say, this guy is crazy, what he's doing, this guy is going to destroy our company or businesses. And today we are the 6th of January 2022. And Bacardi, which is the largest maker of rum in the world, is making an alcohol-free rum in England. So it means that my concept is right.
Don't be offended, but when we heard about this now just a few hours ago before we booked your segment, we thought you were crazy too. But it's fine. Be honest. There's some people who miss the alcohol, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, I really admire what you're doing, especially how it came to be for your son. And I wish we'd had more time to set the segment up. We would have had a bottle here on set and had a drink together. It was good to see you.
I will send you.
Well, we won't accept freebies, but we're going to find it on Amazon and report to the viewers on how it is. We'll have you back for a drink sometime.
Thank you so much.
All
Appreciate
right. Keep up the good work. All right. Kim Jong-un, leader of North Korea, his latest feat, we're going to explain it to you. And it's got nothing to do with missiles. Stick around. North Korea state media reports they have solved one of life's great mysteries. Who invented the burrito? They claim Kim Jong-il, the current leader, Kim Jong-un's father. Well, evidently the father wanted to invent something to solve the country's continuing food crisis. He invented what they call their wheat wraps. Evidently, North Korea's burritos are best enjoyed, according to the dear leader, with mineral water during the summer or tea during the winter. Here is some of the propaganda video of the North Koreans lining up at a burrito stand. You can just imagine if this was a Taco Bell, burritos with a little tequila. Of course, this is just the latest in a long list of the Kim's family's greatest feat. In golf, Kim Jong-il reportedly scored a 34. He had 11 holes-in-ones. His father, as you see, invented the burrito for the people. At the same time, he spends $700,000 a year on brandy and lobster. So you can imagine he's not eating very many burritos. According to the media, his father invented an invisible phone. There are a couple of more things on there that they also invented. A car, saying that he learned to drive at 3 years old. They're amazing people. But back to the burrito for just a minute. If you could be credited with inventing one food, if you could credit the dear leader, your hero, would it be a burrito? Why not ice cream and waffles? Chicken cordon bleu, steak frites, the omelet, chocolate caramels. Well, to go from 11 holes-in-one to inventing the burrito seems to be a real letdown. Must have been the B team in the propaganda office this week. I'm going to have an omelet. See you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.